Ladies and gentlemen, this is Envoy of Kairos, back with another Speedpaint. Oh, I am just so proud of this one. You can thank my amazing girlfriend over at Topspin Gaming for teaching me some of the new lighting and shading techniques that have made a pretty huge difference in this piece. Couldn't have done it without you, hon. Of course, being the week of Pokemon Legends Arceus release, and time for a Fandom Speedpaint, I had to do a Pokemon Speedpaint. As such, I decided to do something Pokemon focused that's a bit more personal. So here I am with my personal team of some of the most cherished and lasting Pokemon out of all of my playthroughs. I know they look odd, each in their own way, but every one of them has subspecies traits based on a parent or even a grandparent of a separate species. This isn't so extreme as the designs by 1 Megawatt, but it is inspired by their brilliant artwork. I myself, as a trainer, am represented as closely to my real self as I can manage. Though I had to go back and add a few things I forgot in the sketch, because I don't spend too much time in front of a mirror. Particularly my glasses. I'm kinda heavy, broad, strong legs, a bit overweight honestly, but I'm working on it. I actually do own the exact outfit you're seeing in this image, though I modified my shoes heavily as to not represent any brand in this piece. As a trainer, I'm as experienced and seasoned as you'd expect of a 29-year-old nerd. I've played every major game in the series, took a long while to get to Gen 5 due to family troubles, and there's very little in the main series that I'm not intimately familiar with, and that includes the craziest bits of lore and inspirations behind all the Pokemon in the franchise. I've never been a competitive player, but I do understand the competitive scene. I just pick my favorite Pokemon and treat them as best I can, which results in some semi-competitive builds. Moving on to my team, my first Pokemon I complete in this image is Hockey, my Lucario. His subspecies features a darker, shaggier fur, and a more pronounced snout from his Mightyena grandfather, and more defined hands with shoulder pads instead of rings from his Hitmonchan father. Of course, I had to go with Hitmonchan because he's not complete without Bullet Punch on his moveset, especially since Hockey's my go-to Mega. Speaking of that, I once played him through a Nuzlocke and he got crit and almost died to a Weavile's Night Slash during a match in which he lost a good deal of accuracy. As such, I ended up deciding he lost his eye in that fight. Here you can see it scarred and with a socket filled with his Lucarionite. I think it's a pretty striking feature. Of course, Hockey has been a staple in my team ever since I first played Diamond version, and he's been on every possible team since. He's a very old, very dear friend that I just can't bring myself to part from, for as long as I play this series. I do tend to overpower him a bit though, as my buddy Dan went out of his way to raise his Mega Blaziken explicitly to kick Hockey's ass. I can't exactly blame him. Then, my second Pokemon here is another Gen 4 staple, Raijin the Luxray. Although his features are harder to spot, the curves of his tail star, heel claws, the lock fading to white in his mane, and the forehead dot all come from his Absol father. As such, he of course has Night Slash and Thunderfang. I ended up reviving him back on my team during Gen 6 after discovering the concept of dual-type moves. Of course, still only being Flying Press so far. Game Freak, you really need to change that. Add some more, damn it. But I loved the idea, and thought Luxray deserved a dual Electric Dark type attack, and I made one for him. I was extra weeby at the time, so I named it Raikiri, predictably. It's stuck since. Either way, Raijin has been a dependable team member who's clutched quite a few battles for me, and another very old staple to my roster. Moving on, we have Tobirama, my Greninja. His parentage is an odd one, having orange spikes and claws, a few orange markings, and a more purplish tongue. This all comes from Toxapex, which means he's inherited toxic spikes, making him more of a ninja than ever. The last version of him I had was, of course, in Ultra Sun, and he was an absolute menace. He had Protean, of course. Greninja just resonated with me more than any other starter of Gen 6, having always been a speed-oriented fighter in any game I can be one. He became one of my favorites of the entire generation quite quickly, and I know he'll stick with me for the rest of my escapades through this franchise. He saved my ass several times in my XY Nuzlocke, especially in Mirror Cave dealing with those goddamn Wobbuffet. He was a real MVP in the Elite Four, sweeping most of it alone without a care in the world. Then there's Cinna. She's the newest member of my team, of course, and yes, she's not a breeding combination that's possible in canon yet, but it would be if Incineroar were in Sword and Shield. End result is a Cinderace that's more heated than ever. A bit of a poser, but you know she's got the same heart of gold beneath it all. Yellow fur on Cinderace's knees has been turned into the same flames as Incineroar's belt, and the result is just amazing. But annoying to handle the lighting for in this image, dear god. I'd say it turned out pretty well still, though. Cinna is actually the second starter I picked, as I originally went with Rillaboom due to my family's musical inclinations, and wanting to build a full rock band team. Eventually, though, Roll got set aside for Cinna, and she's just precious. A lot of people's favorite bunny is Lopunny, but nah, mine's definitely Cinderace, and Cinna's the best to me. Moving to the background, and on the other side, we have Santiago, my Flygon. Flygon is my oldest teammate, having run him time and time again since Ruby version. My original was more defensive, and I've kept that up, with more of a focus on his ground type than dragon. I headcanon him as a sage-like, wizened sandbender, always backed with Heat Wave for grass and fairy types, Sand Tomb, Earth Power, and Dragon Tail. His sage-like nature is now even expanded upon by his heritage. As of Gen 8, he's officially in the dragon breeding group instead of stuck in bug, thank god. So, I made him part Komao. This resulted in more armored scales for his high defense, and some rounded, softer features for his wings and tail fins. His legs certainly got an upgrade, though. Flygon are kinda doofy, but stronger legs mean better posture for taking a hit. So I just had to do it. Of course, his name is a reference to the alchemist and its protagonist, befitting his mastery of sand and the desert as his domain, as well as his quiet, guiding nature. Lastly, over my other shoulder, we have Arceus, the shiny Aegislash with Lunatone heritage. I knew I didn't want just a Claymore. I wanted something more eastern, and the best way to achieve that would be heritage from another species that can change the style of the blade. A personal favorite of mine is the Khopesh, out of ancient Egypt. As such, I chose Lunatone as his parent to result in the iconic shape. Ironically, Lunatone's own body translated almost flawlessly into the new pommel shape. And of course, combined with the shiny features of Aegislash, this resulted in a blood red blade. When I first got Arceus in XY, I went out of my way to stop playing and have a friend raise me a shiny Honedge before I kept playing. He became one of my heaviest hitters for that entire game, and stood right up there with Hockey and Toby as one of my most devastating Pokemon for that generation. And now, here he is, artistically realized as the Blood Boon Blade. My team. My hard-earned, genuinely awesome team. The Pokemon games have gotten me through some of the hardest times in my life, and I know a lot of us felt the same about Sword and Shield through all these quarantines, even with the game's flaws. And I still go back and play the older ones occasionally, not to mention all the fan games going out constantly. Looking at you, Loxton. Can't wait for Blazing Bloom. But for now, here we stand. Back where this franchise became a bit of a lifeline for me at the darkest time in my life. Standing atop Spear Pillar, top of the world, seeking audience with the very Pokemon we're all about to be chasing down at the end of the week this goes up. And whatever my team is in that game, we'll be ready. I already know Hockey and Raijin will be beside me again. And maybe Santiago too. Whatever happens, I'll be ready. And Arceus better be ready for us. A lifetime of Pokemon experience and love is about to come barreling across that mountainous paradise of Hisui, and straight up to that temple to seek audience with God. I know a lot of you will be joining me on that legendary adventure. Will you be bringing any old friends with you? I hope so. For now, this is Envoy of Kairos, signing out. And I'll see you all again soon for another video, and the start of another incredible Pokemon adventure. Later. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're looking to support me a little further, maybe get some bonus content, or just keep up with me and other fans, you can find links down in the description leading to my Patreon, my Discord, and my Twitter. And if you're following me on Patreon, then you can expect some content polls to decide what's coming up on the channel yet. A little bit of background additions to some other series I've been working on, some more original and creative stuff. And who knows, if enough of you start supporting me soon, I might have a few other surprises up my sleeve too. Again, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you all again on the next video.